Welcome everyone to this Meet the Candidates Town Hall hosted by APAPA, Asian Pacific American Public Affairs and Idea Education Foundation. I'm Vice Mayor of Cupertino Liang Chao. I was elected in 2018 to the City Council. Before that, I had no idea about public affairs. But then ever since then, it has been my passion to get young people involved. And therefore, today's event is moderated by young people. They have written their own script and we collected the questions from the community, but then they are in charge of what questions to ask. And I would like to introduce our moderator for this segment. Oh, I didn't.
I don't know that it's working.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is on.
Okay. But it still should be okay, right? So our moderator for this segment of the event is Sophie Yan. He is a 10th grader from Lynbrook High. She plays on her school's varsity volleyball team, participates in clubs like Future Business Leaders of America, mock trial, where she competes on her school team. She is interested in the field of law as she really enjoyed her experience in mock trial. I have to say I was really impressed with Sophie when she joined the team. She immediately took charge writing the script for the event and getting organized for us. And it's really an honor to be working with her. Sophie.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So before I begin, just a brief reminder that the intent of this event is to foster a relationship between every candidate and you guys, regardless who gets elected. And the candidates should focus on policy issues the community cares about and refrain from attacking other candidates. The audience is also expected to keep an open mind while listening and also refrain from campaigning for or against any candidate during the event. Please ask and answer questions in a respectful manner. Thank you. So I'll be introducing Mr. Rosen briefly and then you can go in deeper. Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen is a nationally recognized leader in criminal justice reform. His changes to one of the largest prosecutorial offices in the country include reducing the jail population, diversion programs for nonviolent offenders, expungements for low-level drug crimes, prison reform, and promoting the highest ethical prosecution standards. This all while keeping crime at its lowest rate in decades. By vigorously and successfully prosecuting murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, domestic violence abusers, child molesters, corporate polluters, and those who commit fraud against the elderly. From gang homicides to human trafficking to cybercrime, the DA's office prosecutes tens of thousands of cases in court each year and diverts thousands of others to achieve justice inside and outside of court. Under Mr. Rosen's leadership, the office is more diverse than ever, with women comprising 50% of prosecutors and African American, Hispanic, Asian American, and LGBTQIA+ individuals representing more than 40% of the prosecutors. And at this time, you may introduce yourself further.
Thank you very much, Sophie. And you're at Lynbrook High School, so I might be seeing you tomorrow night. I'm going to be at Lynbrook High School with Supervisor Chavez and Ed Liang from our major case and drug trafficking unit to talk about fentanyl. Maybe I'll see you at the mock trial tournament in the fall. I always judge the finals of that. It's a really terrific program. So let me just say a word about myself and a word about my philosophy as a district attorney. So I'm Jeff Rosen. I grew up in Los Angeles. Don't hold that against me. I live here now. And I did my undergraduate work at UCLA, where I majored in philosophy. Always very interested in moral philosophy and what the right thing to do is. How do you figure out what the right thing to do is? How do you be a good person? So this is something that's always been an interest of mine. I then went to law school at UC Berkeley. It's actually where I met my wife, who was a federal prosecutor for many years before she was appointed to the Superior Court bench. After law school, I worked for a couple years in large law firms in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., doing different kinds of litigation, which was kind of boring. and I'd always wanted to be a prosecutor, and I applied, and I was very fortunate to get hired in 1995 to work at the Santa Clara County DA's office. For 15 years before I was elected DA, I prosecuted every kind of crime in the office. I had more jury trials than anyone else during the time that I was a deputy DA, everything from misdemeanors to drug trafficking to burglary, robbery, 3 strikes, rape, child molestation, and murder. My last 5 years I prosecuted murder cases. I was elected in 2010. My philosophy as district attorney is to vigorously pursue public safety and criminal justice reform. I think if you only pursue one of those things, you get neither, but you need to pursue both. So what does that mean? In terms of public safety, it means vigorously prosecuting serious and violent crimes. We have an extremely high conviction rate in the district attorney's office, probably 99%. And every year we're holding thousands of people accountable for the crimes they commit. But we want to hold people accountable in a way that's fair. So, because it's very important for the community to trust law enforcement and the DA's office, because the truth is, that's how we solve most of our serious crimes, is somebody calls the police and says, I heard something, I saw something. If people think that every person that we prosecute, regardless of the crime, we're going to send to prison for 50 years, they may not be cooperative with us. At the same time, if people think that, oh, if I call the police and the person's prosecuted, nothing will happen to them, they'll just get a slap on the wrist, people will not trust the police or the prosecution. So it's important that we hold people appropriately accountable. I'm very proud. Santa Clara County is the safest large county in the United States, and our crime rate is one of the lowest for any county in California or in the United States. In the last year, property crime has decreased. Violent crime has gone up a little bit. Murder is still down from where it was. A lot of these efforts are the result of the good working relationship that I have with law enforcement in this county. I'm endorsed by all of the POAs and PORAC, as well as almost all the prosecutors within the DA's office, as well as firefighters, deputy sheriffs, and many, many others. I'm very proud of the efforts we've made to try to reform the criminal justice system by providing more mental health and drug treatment for low-level offenders and nonviolent offenders. Every year there's thousands of people that we divert into these kinds of programs. But I'm also very proud of our efforts to reduce gun crime in our county. We have a crime strategies unit that works with police and has helped to solve hundreds and hundreds of aggravated assaults and murders in the last few years. In addition to that, we very vigorously use gun violence restraining orders to remove firearms from the hands of people that are a danger to themselves or others, or who have domestic violence restraining orders. We have done this hundreds of times since I've been DA, more than any other county, and it's absolutely helped us to solve mass shootings. In addition, we're extremely focused on crime victims in the DA's office. I'm very proud to have brought victim services into the DA's office, and every year we serve thousands and thousands of crime victims. We provide emergency housing, emergency food, restraining orders, restitution. In addition, we're very focused on domestic violence, and under my leadership, we've created 3 family justice centers to help victims of domestic violence throughout our county. I'm very proud of the support I've received from every member of the Board of Supervisors, our congresspeople, our state senators and assembly members, certainly from the Asian American community. I'm proud to have APAPA's endorsement. That's the National Association of Asian Pacific Islander Prosecutors, as well as Asian Americans for Good Government, which is the PAC arm of APAPA. In addition, State Assembly Member Evan Lowe, Phil Ting, Margaret Abikoga, and many, many others. And I'm very proud of the diversity, as Sophie mentioned, in our DA's office. It's my belief that if you have an open and welcoming DA's office, that you will attract a diverse group of applicants. And this county is known for, I think, two things: for being a place of great diversity and a place of great excellence. And I think those two things go together, and I want our DA's office to reflect the excellence and the diversity of our county. To that end, half of our prosecutors and managers are women. More than 50% of the people I have hired have been African American, Latino, Asian American, or LGBTQ+. And I think that has made us a prosecution office that people want to come to, where they want to do good work at the highest level, exercising the highest level of prosecutorial ethics. So with that, I'm happy to take whatever questions you have. I don't have a 5-minute thing that goes off in my head, but that seems about right.
Great, thank you for that introduction. And now we have a few questions on this piece of paper, and then we will reach out to the audience. So I'll just be asking a few. Starting off, what programs in the DA's office help young people, such as your law clerk program?
That's a great question. So one of the things I noticed after I became DA is that we didn't have a paid program for law clerks. And so people that wanted to be prosecutors often know that while they're in law school. And during the summer, when you are in law school, you'll work at a place that will pay you over the summer. Maybe it's a law firm, maybe it's another place. But the DA's office didn't pay anyone to work as a law clerk over the summer. And I felt that we were losing a lot of potentially good applicants to other counties. In addition, while some people can work for free over the summer, right, not everybody can afford to do that, especially given the cost of law school. And so we were also losing middle class and working class young people that wanted to be prosecutors. So I worked with the county, and we've established what we call a 2L, second year of law school, honors law clerk program. And we pay, it's $10,000 to $12,000 for the summer. It's a very competitive program to get into, and we do a lot of hiring out of that program. And so that's helped us fulfill the two things that I think are important in our DA's office and in our county: a place of diversity and a place of excellence. It's helped us attract excellent young people, and many of the applicants are diverse, first generation college students or law students in this country. And then we've expanded that paid law clerk program, and we also have paid internship opportunities for college students who come to our office, as well as high school students. And one other thing that we have just started in the last few years is a DA Explorers Club. So sometimes police departments have what they call cadet programs for high school students that are interested in law enforcement, and we've created something for students that are interested in learning about the DA's office and the crime lab that we run. And so we have about 20 students a year that participate in that.
Okay, so now I think if the audience has any questions, okay. I don't know if the mic extends that long.
No, I can just speak. I think
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Shout it out.
So, Mr. Rosen, thank you for coming today. The question that I've got for you is, I know
And your name?
my name is Carolyn Field.
Hi, nice to meet
Hi.
you.
So I know that violent crime has increased, at least in San Jose, from 2020 to 2021, I believe around 10%.
A little less than that, and it depends on what you're judging, but violent crime has gone up in the last year in San Jose, not in every other city in the county.
And well, property crime, at least in San Jose, has gone down for that same period,
Yeah.
almost 7%. But it seems to me that property crime, such as smash and grab, with vehicles and catalytic converter theft, and even home burglaries, it seems rampant. It just seems like it's increased and not gone down. And I don't know if it's a factor of people they're just not reporting it any longer. I don't know. But it makes me wonder why you voted for Prop 47.
Okay, so Prop 47 has nothing to do with the crimes that you mentioned, actually. So that has nothing to do with home burglary or violent crime or anything like that. Oh, okay. So a couple things. So you mentioned smash and grab robberies. So I remember around in December when there were a number of smash and grab robberies around Christmas time in San Francisco, in Oakland, and in San Jose. And I remember watching the news and seeing these very brazen smash and grab robberies. And I was very angry about that. And immediately I called the head of our crime strategies unit and said, what do we know about the people that are doing these crimes? And what can we do to bring them to justice? And so we had immediately, well, actually, more than immediately, we'd already been working with police departments around the Bay Area to identify these individuals and arrest them. And we have. And there haven't been those attacks since we arrested those individuals. In addition, you'll probably read a few days ago, there were 2 individuals that had done a number of armed robberies in our county of smoke shops and vape shops. And we found them, we arrested them, and they're in custody. You mentioned catalytic converters. So for people that don't know, every car has a catalytic converter on it, and you need this in order for your car to function. They're unfortunately somewhat easy to remove from your car. They can be removed in just a couple minutes, and they're very expensive to replace, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. So this is a crime that really hurts working people. And there were thousands and thousands of catalytic converters that were stolen in San Jose. And approximately 6 months to a year ago, we began a task force to focus specifically on this problem with primarily the San Jose Police Department. 6 months ago, we arrested 15 individuals, including the fence that was the individual that was taking the catalytic converters that were stolen and then turning around and selling them. And all of those individuals are in custody. And I can't say that we've ended every catalytic converter theft, but that's was a huge driver of those things. And so I'm proud to have a group within our office that works collaboratively and proactively with law enforcement, which is why I have the overwhelming support of law enforcement, because even as I've prosecuted police officers for crimes that they've committed, I always work with police officers. And I recognize that what we're really lacking in this county is police officers. The city of San Jose several years ago had about 1,450 police officers. And while we're in Cupertino, the reason it's important to talk about San Jose is by far the largest city in the county, has the largest police department. And so if San Jose doesn't have enough police officers, that affects everyone in the county. So San Jose today has about 300 fewer police officers than it had several years ago. 300 police officers would be the second largest police department in the county. 300 police officers is more than Gilroy, Morgan Hill, Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Gatos, Los Altos combined. And police officers do a couple of things. They deter crime from happening because people don't commit a crime when they see a police officer. And they also lead to crimes being solved more quickly, which also deters crime from happening in the first place. Police officers are a cost-effective way to reduce crime. There's a RAND study that makes this point very clearly. And for me, I would like us to invest more in police officers, which would then reduce the need that we have for jails. And frankly, it would just reduce the number of crime victims. And that's what I'm focused on. My goal is not to say to you, there's a lot of crime and we do a great job prosecuting it. My goal is to reduce crime so that we don't have to prosecute it, because that means there's fewer crime victims and that means people feel safer. And I recognize, Ms. Fields, that whatever the crime rate is, that doesn't reflect how people feel. And what people should know is that their district attorney is working very hard every day with law enforcement to do everything we can to reduce crime.
I have a question, Mr. Rosen. It's not working, but you've been campaigning on the topic of helping thousands and thousands of victims, and it's something to be proud of if it's true statistics. Now, it's a fact that since you have taken state victim compensation, the benefits have declined every single year to about 50% less files for state victim compensation, about 149% in benefits to victim compensation, when actually the budget has tripled. So I want a commitment.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Would you give us a commitment to release the statistics of state victim compensation since you have taken the program over? I've shared that with your.
Do you want to share with everybody everything else about you, or do you just want to ask a question about victim services?
It's about only victim services, because that's something.
Yes.
State victim compensation I care about very much, and I think the community deserves to have
Yes.
true information.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Would you commit?
Yes, we do.
Would
It's
you-
all public.
would you
It's all
release-
public. It's all released. It's
I-
all
I-
out there.
I've gone to your.
If you think that it's gone down, apparently you know what it is. So it's,
I
which
do.
I don't know that it has, but
But-
apparently you're aware of all of
Well,
it.
I'm not really here to argue. I'm respecting the forum here. I'm not arguing. I'm asking you, and you seem to want to argue about it. Please release the state victim compensation statistics since you have taken
So
over.
since I've been district attorney, we were very fortunate to be able to bring victim services into the district attorney's office, and we've more than tripled the number of staff that we have working to compensate victims. And we've been able to do that because we've gotten competitive merit-based grants from the state and the federal government. And that's allowed us to provide more victim services for the residents of our county at a cost that's not borne by county residents. It's actually money we've received from the state and the federal government. And with those services, we provide funeral expenses, we provide emergency housing, emergency food, help with restraining orders, and we report these every year. We help anywhere from 10 to 15,000 crime victims every year. We don't require that a crime victim participate in the prosecution at all. Like, we don't make that a condition in any way. We just help a number of people. And because of that, we've also developed an expertise in mass shootings. The head of our our victim services unit was Casey Halcone, who was the statewide director of all of the victim services units in the county. She was elected to that position by her representatives around the state. That's how much esteem they held our victim services unit in. In fact, our victim services unit also helps to provide services for surrounding counties here because it's so efficiently and well run. And because of this expertise, we were able, after the horrible shooting in Gilroy at the Garlic Festival and the terrible mass shooting at VTA, to very quickly set up family assistance centers within hours that provided services to those families, including being present when the death notifications happened. The 1-year anniversary of the VTA shooting is May 26th, and I'll be participating in some of the very solemn ceremonies. Thank you for your question, and you're,
Well,
of
you
course,
attacked
welcome.
my credibility, though, and you said, you know.
Yeah, we have only
except-
5 minutes left. I think we'll go to you, and if we can keep questions answers short, maybe we can go to him. Yeah. You can ask your question.
So my question, Mr. Rosen, is I heard you just describing that you were responsible for the diversion program and not sending very many people to jail and trying to take extraordinary efforts to reduce the jail population. And yet, isn't it true that just April 5th, your office objected to the diversion of a journalist in a photograph case? Isn't that true, Mr. Rosen? You had prosecuted that case as a misdemeanor for 4 years, and you objected to a diversion. And that diversion is not offered by your office, but by the court, and your office, in fact, objected to diversion.
That's your case, right?
That is my case.
And you're the one with the restraining order that we filed against
that
you.
you filed and
No,
omitted
not
the
me,
material
actually,
fact
not
that I'm
me,
a journalist.
but not me, but other people in our office have filed a restraining order
Yes, Casey
against you,
Halcone, who
which
you were
was
just
which was
bragging about.
granted, because you post people's photos of their children on the internet.
You mean the ones
And
you
you've
put on the internet
And
first?
you've also been declared a vexatious litigant by the Santa Clara County Superior Court, which means you're not able to file any documents in court anymore. Okay,
And
that's
Mr.
who
Rosen,
you
are you just victim shaming
This
and
is not a
vexatious
question. This is
litigant?
not a
Okay,
question.
that's
I have a question.
thank you
I
for
have
your
a question.
question. We have 2 more minutes.
Okay, I'll make it very brief. Under your watch, Mr. Rosen, and thank you for being here today. 10 years ago, I was a victim of a violent crime, attempted murder. You slapped him on the head and let him go.
What's your name?
My name is Sidney Theodore Scarlett. Sir,
don't-
you know who I am.
No,
please.
I don't know
So,
who you. I
now,
don't know who you are.
let
And
me
if
ask
you have
my
a question
I
about your
do.
case,
So
why didn't you bring it to our
let
office's
me-
attention?
Well, so I was attempted murder 10 years ago. My car was stolen 2 years ago. My motorcycle was stolen a year ago. I have a video of the assailants in the motorcycle theft. They can be easily prosecuted. They're not. You talked about harm from a catalytic converter. Can you imagine what it's like losing a motorcycle and a car and all this? Now, sir, you've been prosecuted. Now, you came out in your campaign at the very beginning saying that you were adopting a more compassionate view, and you've discussed that here today. Sir, you've been prosecuting me for 7.5 years, 148 hearings. And
You're being prosecuted?
yes, sir.
What did
And-
you
Could we
what did you do?
And no, the question I'm gonna challenge you to your campaign promise. Dismiss the charge. It's recording a quitclaim deed on my home. I challenge you here today. Will you, after 7.5 years and 148 hearings, will you dismiss my case?
No, I don't know anything about your case personally.
promise to
You've
look
never,
into
You've
it?
never brought it to my attention before.
Will you promise to look into it?
Of course I'll look into it. And if we believe that you've done what you did, which is we look at a case and say, was a crime committed? Do we know who committed it? Do we have a strong evidence to convince a jury at trial is charging the right thing to do? That's the basis on which whatever was issued against you was issued against you. And will I look at it? Sure, I'll look at it. And if it warrants being dismissed, we'll dismiss it. If it doesn't, we'll continue with
Is
it.
7.5 years
Well,
excessive?
I just answered your question, though, right? You asked me if I would look
Is
at it,
7.5
and I
years
said I would
excessive?
look at it, and now you want to just continue talking about
question.
your case.
No, it's a
You want
question.
to talk about your
Thank you
case.
for your
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Rosen.
thank you, everyone. I think, that's remember we are here to listen. You may not like the answer, but we are here to listen, and this is a chance for our candidates to get his point across. And I think we have. Well, I'll bring this back to the moderator, but really appreciate all the questions.
Except he started it with me.
Yeah,
I asked
really
a very
appreciate-
respectful
Let's give him a chance to answer, and he answered. Well, we can talk about those later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for your questions and enthusiasm. And in the best interest of time, we will give Mr. Rosen just a couple more minutes to make some concluding remarks. And then thank you.
Thank you. So I'm running for re-election to reduce crime, to reduce incarceration, and to increase trust between law enforcement and the communities that we serve. Every day we wake up in the DA's office and we say, what can we do to reduce crime? And we do that through a combination of hard power and soft power. Hard power is arresting, prosecuting, convicting individuals, sending them to jail or prison for serious, violent, or repeat offenses. Soft power are things that we do to prevent crime from happening in the first place, whether that's community prosecutors that we have all over the county, whether that's the Parent Project that we offer to parents of teenagers that are starting to move towards gangs or drugs, and other kinds of diversion programs. That's the hard power and soft power. In terms of incarceration, incarceration is very expensive, $70,000 to $80,000 a year. And so I want us to always be focused on spending more money on the front end of criminal justice, which is increasing the number of police officers, because that brings crime down at a much more cost-effective price, and it makes people feel safer when they see a police officer around. It just does, and that's a good thing. And finally, I always want to be working to increase trust between our very diverse communities in Santa Clara County and with law enforcement. Because, look, we represent you, We're able to do our jobs only because people trust us that we will do the right thing if you bring to our attention that a crime has been committed. And with that, I look forward to your support. I look forward to continuing to serve you. And it's been my pleasure to spend a little time with you this morning. Thank you, Liang and APAPA, for organizing this.
Thank you to Mr. Rosen for coming out today, and everyone, please remember to vote by June 7th for the candidate that you feel is best for the position. And yes, thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So now we'll have some photo ops with
yeah,
the
Please stay here.
moderator.